know that Harrington puts in there. It's everyone's been bombarding me with it on Twitter. I don't really want to go there, but Harrington or Lewis, you want to set this up, I guess, seeing as it's, I don't know, awkward for me to do so.
All right, so Harrington, yeah, jump on. You could set this up because people have been tweeting it at everyone. BYM, me, everyone. They're like, "Oh, is Bisping going to respond? Is Bisping going to respond?" So please,
you're gonna make me say this?
Yeah, read it in an Irish accent.
Forget it. I'll do it. Jesus Christ, Harrington. We're trying to keep the show moving along and flowing and going, and like we don't want 12 seconds of dead air. You had your chance, you blew it off the camera. Goodbye. So I get out of bed this morning and I wake up and Callum texts me. He says, "Hey, check Conor's Twitter." And I'm like, all right, I don't even need to bother because I guarantee he's talking some shit about me on there. Otherwise, Callum wouldn't be saying that. Anyway, I look and I didn't see anything because he deleted it. But then a few people started texting me. DC texted me and a few others. And I forget what the actual quote was. I don't know. He's talking shit. No, because we got on there, I think it was last week's show. Because he was talking stuff about DC. And I said, oh, he's got to be careful. You know, DC's a heavyweight. He'll rip him from limb. To which Conor responded with, Bisping is a nobody on Sirius XM. Well, he's a little out of date there. That was 5 years ago. Rushed back to competition after being dropped, strangled, and then get shotgun slept by Gastelum's left hand. Devastating. Even though I collect commission on all his fights, I said to the team to pull the great fight, the Gastelum fight. I knew it was coming. And then there's a bit else as well. There was something else that he said. And everyone's like, oh, you're going to take that mic? You're going to take that mic? It's like, listen, I'm not lowering myself to it. He wants to get on Twitter. He wants to fucking talk shit, whatever, you know. I'm very, very happy in my life and I don't need to lower myself to that. I do my talking like a man. And if I do tweet something, I stand by it as well. I don't delete it. I'm not saying I've never deleted a tweet. Maybe I delete it because I think, hold on, I didn't word that right. Or maybe I was wrong. Do you know what I mean? But if I'm going to tweet something out, baby boy, certainly about someone, number one, have the balls to tag me. And secondly, don't delete it. Stand by your words.
Devil's advocate.
Devil's avocado.
Maybe he regretted it. Maybe he was like, you know what? That was a little out of line. Bisping's a legend. Let me delete this. And hopefully
Cat's out the bag, baby boy. Cat's out the bag. Unlucky.
It's too fucking late, McGregor.
Nah, I don't care.
It wasn't even like that. Like it wasn't like that venomous. People are like freaking out over it. It's like, you know, yeah, you did lose your last two fights.
I couldn't care less. And then he's like, oh yeah, every time he fights, I collect a commission on his fights. Yoink, every time. No, you don't. You have never collected a penny of commission off me, mate. And I'm not going into details, but that's just that. I don't know what's getting deleted quicker. This was going to be my response. I don't know what's getting deleted quicker. Conor's tweets or his legacy. Because they're both disappearing down the fucking pipe. But still, there you go. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to get into it publicly on social media like I'm fucking arguing with some 13-year-old kids on Call of Duty. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm a grown man. I'm a commentator. I'm retired. It's not a good look for the UFC if I'm going back and forth with their biggest star on social media. It's childish, you know? So I was like, whatever.
He seems to be very easily goaded into talking shit because like this is just an internet troll. Somebody on Twitter is going, hey, did you hear what Bisping said? That he's responded to you. He was like, did you hear that Bisping said DC would pull you apart limb by limb, which is a fact. The sky is blue. It's not
an assumption.
That's not like, it's not even a shitty thing. It's not like you're saying Poirier would pull him apart limb by limb, and it's a guy who's going to fight, who's in his weight class. You're talking about the former heavyweight champion of the world whose specialty is wrestling. He's a giant fucking bear. Yes, he would tear most men apart limb by limb. So it's not that crazy of a thing, but Conor takes the bait. Some guy's trolling and takes the bait and then responds and, yeah, I don't know. It's, I think that
whatever. He just needs to, just like DC said, he just needs to focus on winning fights because that isn't happening lately. That's the reality of the situation. You know, if he was as good in his fights, he was good on Twitter, then he wouldn't have to come back at people, would he? He wouldn't have to be sending venomous little tweets out in the middle of the night to which then he needs to delete afterwards. But still, whatever. As I say, it's not a good look for me as a commentator. It's not a good look for the UFC if one of their commentators and their biggest stars going back and forth. I wish you all the best. Good luck with the recovery in your leg, Conor, and just get back in the fucking octagon. I go on.
Well, did you see that he made other news because he says he's going to return. When he returns, he's going to get a title shot right away?
Well, if Dustin Poirier... Yeah, no, I did see that tweet. He said, what was the news?
I guess he said, I'm a Billy... Hold on. I'm assuming, does it mean billionaire by that? I'm a Billy walking straight into a title shot on my return, and it sickens the bums of this business, which is the real reason these constant disrespectful comments come my way. God bless them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, if Dustin Poirier becomes the champion by then, I would have thought then, yeah, he will get a title shot, because if Dustin beats Charles, again, but if he does, and that's going to be Conor's next fight, I would have assumed. It'd be very interesting if it wasn't. And yeah, he will get a title shot. I mean, there's nothing, I don't see why that would make news, to be honest. That's just logical. But obviously, the big factor is whether or not Dustin is the champ by then. I would assume he would have fought. We talked about it last time, Nate Diaz. He probably ends up fighting Charles at some point. If he wins the belt, Conor fights for the belt. If Dustin doesn't, then he doesn't fight for the belt. Simple as that, because there's no way he's walking in after he's recovered and taking on the champ unless it's not Dustin Poirier.
Yeah, impossible. I mean, look, we've seen crazier stuff happen. Conor. There's a few guys that are always a fight away from a title shot. Let's get real, right? A little segue here as well. I know that Nick Diaz, they said, was it Kamaru Usman's manager said that if Nick Diaz wins his fight, he's number one contender?
Wow, is that what was said? That's crazy. I mean, listen, God bless. As a champ, you won the biggest fights possible. And I love Nick Diaz. And I was with a guy that kind of represents him at the wedding on Saturday night. So we were talking about Nate and Nick a lot. They're great guys, you know what I mean? And they're entertaining as hell. And it's great to see Nick Diaz back. But if he wins a fight against Robbie Lawler, a fight that he already knocked Robbie Lawler out 17 years ago, and hasn't fought in the octagon for 6 years, right? I'm sorry. That doesn't make you the number one contender. It makes a lot of money for Kamaru Usman, though, because people would want to see Diaz fight for the belt. Simple as that, because he's got this cult figure-ish. He's got this cult-like following, which is awesome for him, but it doesn't make you the number one contender.
There are those guys, though. Nate, Conor, Nick. I'm trying to think. There's a few guys. Look, Brock Lesnar ever comes back, he's one fight away from a title shot. Always. Yeah. Ronda Rousey. There's certain guys, and what you call
John Jones.
What it is. John Jones, exactly. Yeah. And that's just like, it's kind of interesting. I mean, look, there's more money with having a belt around those guys' waists for the UFC than not, right? When those guys are champions, people pay to see them fight, and that's just that. They pay to see them fight either way, but I think you put that belt on them, it adds that much more validity and that much more intrigue. So, yeah, I mean, look, if Nick Diaz beats Robbie Lawler, I could easily see him getting a title shot.
No
Easily.
way. No,
you don't think so?
No. You're out of your mind. You're out of your mind. Listen, the UFC,
same organization that did Chael Sonnen title shot after 2 losses at 185 at 205 pounds.
There were circumstances around that. Which title fight are you talking about? The one against John Jones?
John Jones, yeah.
Yeah, but didn't Dan Henderson pull out or something? There was, I forget the exact details. It was a long time ago, but they were kind of in a pinch. They needed someone.
No, initially, here's what happened. They were in a pinch because I believe Dan Henderson pulled out, and it was going to be like 17 days notice, and Chael was like, fuck yeah, I'll come in and I'll take that fight. And then the public got really intrigued, and John Jones was like, no, I'm not fighting Chael Sonnen on 17 days notice. And John turned down that fight, and then people started calling John a pussy, and then Chael started talking himself into it and talked himself into the title fight after the fact. They ended up setting up after the fact. So there were circumstances, but the circumstances wasn't much more than public interest.
Yeah, great. And there would be public interest. It's not going to happen. Not going to happen. You can sit there and you can spout on about fucking Nick Diaz and Chael Sonnen, and you can give me history lessons in the sport of mixed martial arts that aren't required, but it ain't going to happen. Nick Diaz is awesome. He's great. What has he got? We got a lot to find out against Robbie Lawler. And even then, Robbie Lawler isn't exactly a guy that proves, and I'm not disrespecting Robbie. Robbie's a legend. He's no doubt a Hall of Famer down the line as well once he decides to hang the gloves up. But he's not the gatekeeper to the belt anymore. He was at one stage, but unfortunately he's not now. You know, I don't know what Robbie's doing right now. When was the last time he fought? I forget. It seems like it was a while ago. Yeah, it's been a long time. Yeah. No, listen, I know you love the Diaz brothers. That ain't happening. You're out of your mind. If you think that he beats Robbie Lawler and then gets to fight Kamaru, I mean, no, I'm sorry.
Ali Abdelaziz said this.
Ali's awesome, right? And he's a great guy. I like him. You know what I mean? I got a lot of respect for him. Ali says a lot of things. He says a lot of things. He says Ali's fucking fighting people left, right, and center. He's punching Colby at fucking lines for the buffets. I forget what all the stories were. Ali's, he likes to mix it up. He likes to get in there. He likes to be controversial.
And does he represent Nick?
It's gospel.
No, he represents Kamaru.
Yeah, he represents a lot of them.
So, but here's the point, though. If Kamaru's manager is angling for that, then I think that there's some value there. If it was Nick Diaz's manager saying that, that's a different story. You'd be like, all right, yeah, obviously he's trying to sell this fight. But if Kamaru's manager is angling for it, it means that, yeah, they're trying to get in a fight with Nick Diaz because they know the money that's on the table there. I'll bet you.
No, you're out of your mind. No.
You want to make a bet? Make a bet.
Listen, we don't need to because it's not going to happen. What's happening is, of course, Ali wants that. Why? Because it's an easy title defense with large pay-per-view buys. Do you know what I mean? That is the view that they're taking. I'm not saying my official stance is that would be an easy title defense. Probably would be. Let's be honest. Nick's been out for a long time. You know, you got to come back. You got to find your groove. You got to get your feet wet. You got to get your skills back, get your time and all that shit. But still, that's why Ali's saying that. Do you know what I mean? And it's just a good headline. It's just a good tweet. It's just a good whatever. Take things with a pinch of salt, Lewis. Not everything is fucking granite in stone. It's not etched.
I'm doing very, very, very low sodium right now, trying to get all that water out. Ali also named Leon Edwards as being safe and boring as the reason they want to give a shot to Diaz. Interesting.
Well, Leon has been a little bit like that, to be fair. And I'm not talking shit about Leon. He's a fellow countryman, of course. I think he's a tremendous fighter, but that's kind of been
fair.
It's been the area of criticism for him. You know what I mean? Because he hasn't had a finish. I can't say anything. Not all my fights were finishes. You know what I mean? But, you know, he was coasting a little bit even in that Diaz fight. So I understand why he would say that. But still, I think if Leon has another fight, he has to fight for the belt. There's Kamaru. He's fighting Colby. There's Gilbert Burns. There's title fights galore. Nick Diaz, whilst I love the guy and I can't wait to see him back and really looking forward to it. In fact, that's the next pay-per-view, right? That's just in, a couple of weeks?
Is he coming back that soon? When is Nick coming back? That's wild.
It's the next pay-per-view, I believe. What is it? UFC 266.